Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Flight Sim Hub, and in today's video we're going to talk about failures in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Now, some of you may remember the failure system in Microsoft Flight Simulator 10. For the purposes of this video, I decided to take a quick look at it, and I was actually pleasantly surprised. It's actually a lot more complex than what I remembered it, and for the time I think it was fantastic. I was a little bit disappointed when in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, not as much thought seemed to have gone into the failure options, especially when compared to something like X-Plane. Turns out though that there's an answer for these lackluster failure options, and a fantastic developer has created a failure platform for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and that's what we're going to look at in today's video. The add-on is called RandFailures2020, and it can be found on flightsim.to or from the developer's GitHub. Now, before running the executable file that allows us to connect to the sim, I actually ran it through both VirusTotal and Malwarebytes, and both came back that the file was indeed safe. Before using this tool, it's a good idea to check your assistance options and make sure that everything is either on hard or true to life. I didn't do this as I didn't read any of the instructions, as you'll see in a little bit of this video, so make sure you go and do that before you actually start a flight. Now, if the simulator isn't running when you open the program, you'll see the state says sim not found. On the left hand side you've got a menu, overview, preset, fail list and help. I'll explain all of those in just a minute. The app comes with one preset, which is main, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a new preset, and I want you to think of these presets almost like failure scenarios. So if we head into presets and select new, and we'll give this a name, we'll just call this one engine failure. Once we've saved it, we can actually click into one of the categories of systems on board an aircraft. Clicking into flight controls, you can see by default that every system counterpart has been enabled and there's a 1% fail possibility. Now, the fail possibility is out of 1,000, not 100%, and that actually caught me out. So what I'd recommend you do is, if you want to do an engine failure, we'll go through and we'll use the set all percent for each category to 0, and then we'll go into the engine and we'll set that at a higher percentage to actually occur. Bear in mind that if you set the fail percent to 0, it can't happen. So you can either tick each box and untick it if it's enabled, or you can just set to 0. For this, we'll do an engine 2 failure and an engine 2 fire, so I'll set them both to fail possibility of 1,000. We now need to set some failure triggers for the failure to happen. It will show the loaded preset which we have, and we can set altitude and speed. So we can say that this will happen between 30 and 50 feet, or at a speed between 130 and 150 knots. The program will select a random speed or random altitude between these two figures for the failures to occur. You can also set it to instantly occur, or you can set a time period before the failures begin, and if you're using this as a totally random failure feature set, you can limit the number of failures you'd wish to occur per flight as well. Once you've started up the simulator, the state will now read sim connected, and we can choose our loaded preset. It's then time for you to begin your flight. If the program is running and you've got a preset in place, there's no need for you to go in there and hit start. As soon as the flight begins, the program will start the failures. This part's totally optional, but if you do actually go to the failures list in the app, then you can see when the failures will occur. As we can see, engine 2 will fail at 139 knots and the fire will begin at 135 knots. You don't have to do this if you'd rather the failures just occur randomly during your flight. So as we hurtle down the runway and approach 135 knots, that's when the engine fire will begin, and at 139 knots, engine 2 will begin rolling back. With some failures, you can open back up RAND failures, and you can actually go back to overview and attempt to stop them, but with some, such as this engine failure, it isn't as easy as just clicking the stop button. That's the tutorial part of this video over. I wanted to have a little bit of fun with this, and we're definitely going to use it in some of our newer videos. It's given us a lot of ideas actually. So I made a preset and called it Chaos, and put the probability of failures occurring to very high, and attempted to fly from Liverpool and then perform an emergency landing at Manchester. Amazingly, the aircraft was still pretty flyable and I didn't actually notice that much difference, so after takeoff I went back into RAND failures and upped the probability of failures occurring even more, which did result in some pretty serious failures.
Got no inclination of speed whatsoever, and I don't have any aerial control. Some rudder. I don't have any rudder deflection either. Okay. Right. Right. No, that needs to be. Well, that's not too bad. It's not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah. Hey, right. We got it. Okay, we're down. Full brakes.
Yeah, I actually had a lot of fun playing around with the failures, and it's definitely an improvement over the native FS10 failures, to be fair. I'd go as far as saying that. And I'll definitely be using it a lot more. I think it added an element of realism to some people's flights if you just had a low percentage of failure across all of the failures and a low number of total failures. And yeah, it really took me back to playing around with them in Flight Simulator 10. So yeah, hopefully we'll do some more videos on that, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the tutorial bit and my first attempt of landing. In fact, you can see the number of failures I had on screen just about now, and I'm actually surprised I was able to land the aircraft. As always, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please do leave a like below and a comment, and if you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you in the next one.